Yo, yo, yo.
Coming to you live from Philly. It's the number one rated Paulie Tony Fusco show.
Yo.
As always, Paulie Fusco here with Tony Fusco and Tony.
Yo.
A huge and very important show today.
Absolutely.
You know, as you all know, if you're following the NBA closely, which is almost always a total waste of time.
It is.
And you know, this year has been no exception. That's the truth. As right now, there is straight up fear running through the entire NBA as the entire sports world looks at what could be a Thunder Pacers NBA Finals.
Horrible.
And, you know, there's real fear out there that the ratings will not just be bad for an NBA Finals, but any telecast in the history of television. Isn't that right, Tony?
Yeah, the experts are saying this is going to be the worst televised matchup, not since Spurs versus Nets, but since Joni Loves Chachi.
Wow, just truly dire. And that's why today we are doing a very special report. Fatal Finals, the Thunder Pacers disaster.
Fatal Finals, the Thunder Pacers disaster.
Now, we're not just going to bitch and moan like all the other hosts. You know, we're going to give you actual solutions.
Absolutely.
As we always do to save this terrible series. But before we get into that day, remember, you hit like, you hit subscribe, you comment, and you rate and review too on Apple Podcasts.
Tag,
right, Tony?
All of it. You know, because if you don't do that, then the algorithm might force you to watch much worse content, like highlights of the Pacers Thunder NBA Finals. And you certainly don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
No.
Anyway, so go ahead and avoid that. And anyway, on the subject of great content, let's get right into our special report.
Fatal Finals, the Thunder Pacers disaster.
Okay, we begin our special report with the concern about these TV ratings. You know, as we said, there's a general acceptance out there that this series is going to be even more boring and unwatchable than both Spurs-Nets finals. In fact, that Spurs-Nets finals, Tony, was so unwatchable, people don't even still know what happened in the series. Isn't that right?
Yeah, a lot of people say the Spurs won, but since nobody actually watched it and no one can actually verify it, there's a faction of Nets truthers out there who claim the New Jersey Nets actually won. You know, we've attempted to go back and watch the video, but the cameraman at the game fell asleep, so there's no footage of anything from that series.
Yeah, we tried to find it. And, you know, in fact, people don't know this, but the Nielsen ratings for that series were so low because many TVs actually automatically turned themselves off and went into sleep mode.
Yeah.
When on the TV, they were actually just showing Tim Duncan in the sleepy Spurs offense, but the TV just thought nothing was happening, so, you know, shut down.
Exactly. You know, I still personally believe that the Nets won. I mean, think about it. Do you know anyone who saw the Spurs win those two titles? It's very suspicious, don't you think?
Very suspicious. You know, we'll never know. Never know the truth.
Exactly.
But, you know, it's not all dire for people out there, you know, worried about this Thunder Pacers series and, you know, Spurs Nets Part 3. There are still ways to save this series coming up and make it somewhat watchable. And, Tony, you had some great ideas. Why don't you tell the people one of them?
You know, I think a Thunder Pacers series can only work if each team is allowed to bring back one player from its team history. I think the Thunder should bring back Russell Westbrook and the Pacers should bring back Ron Artest. But instead of playing against each other, they're pitted against all the fans in the stands to see who can make it out of the arena alive. You know, we could even rename the Thunder Stadium the Thunderdome and do it Mad Max style where almost everyone dies. Now that's a Thunder Pacers series I would watch.
That is a series I would watch. And Tony, on that note, I just saw something come through. Hit that sound. We got breaking news here.
Breaking news.
All right, this just in from the ESPN website. You know, the Thunder used to be the Sonics. Well, former Sonics player Sean Kemp has just pled guilty to assault with a deadly weapon after shooting at two men in a mall parking lot.
Wow.
Tony, your instant reaction.
Wow. This is just perfect timing. Because what is the NBA built on nowadays? Outside shooters. Exactly. Sean Kemp is clearly also a perfect fit for the Sonics/Thunder to bring back. He's the kind of long-range and also point-blank range shooter people want to see, but then also want to run from.
Well, that though. But
Yeah,
terrific instant analysis that, Tony. And
Thank
well, Tony, you're not the only one coming up with some very bold ideas to fix this series. You've heard from your sources that Adam Silver himself is also considering some very bold ideas, isn't he?
Absolutely. My sources inside the league tell me that Adam Silver's considering secretly replacing the Pacers with the Lakers and hoping nobody notices or even cares.
Wow.
First off, they both wear yellow jerseys, and their names already have 4 of the same letters. So you could just Sharpie in Lakers to look like Pacers.
Yep.
So if you're watching on your phone and it's all small, you're not even going to be able to tell.
Nope.
And also, most people haven't watched any Pacers games at all, so nobody's going to know who's on the team anyways.
That is an interesting point, that, Tony, but a little too far-fetched from Adam Silver. You had other ideas that I think were much more reasonable. Tell the people that other one.
Yeah, of course. What I think is most reasonable to help a Thunder Pacers series become watchable is to just have Caitlin Clark join the Pacers.
Yep.
She's already on an Indiana basketball team, and since she's injured, she can't play in the WNBA anyway. So It would be so historic to see the first woman win the NBA Finals.
Yep.
That's, of course, if you're not counting Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, if you don't count Rodman. But great point there, Tony. And
Thank you.
All right, well, you know what I'm about to say next. Very controversial, I know. Going to make headlines, be around the internet, whatever. But I, for one, and many people, we're not exactly thrilled with this Shea Gilligan-Alexander winning MVP. That's 7 years in a row now that a foreign-born player has won MVP.
Terrible.
We gotta fix this foreigner problem, Tony. And you had an idea on how to fix it. Tell the people.
One word: tariffs. We need to start charging these teams extra for signing foreign-born players. We need to get back to American-born players.
Yep.
And people out there may say, well, what about Joel Embiid? But Joel Embiid is just further proof of what happens when you import foreign-made products. They're all flimsy and they break easily. Joel Embiid, Hyundais, anything on Temu. Take your pick.
Yeah, exactly. Thunder may be happy now, but check back in 4 years when this Shea Gilligan is shipwrecked.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's say in the Western Conference Finals, and just talk about what went wrong there for the Timberwolves. They had so much momentum coming into the series. As we all know, they had so much length.
Yep.
And by that, we're talking about Anthony Edwards, of course, allegedly giant penis that he kept bragging about. But, Tony, it's very easy to see where everything went wrong for him specifically, isn't it?
Totally. Anthony Edwards played so much better on the road than he did at home. And there's one clear reason for that. Shrinkage. Inside the cold weather climate of Minnesota, his allegedly massive penis clearly shriveled up. Meanwhile, he and his giant penis, both thrived in the warmer climates of Los Angeles, Oakland, and even Oklahoma City. If I'm Anthony Edwards, I'm asking for a trade to the warm climate of Miami. That will almost certainly extend his career and also his penis.
Just great points all around, Tony. And of course, when we bring this up, we got to talk about the player who had the most allegedly massive penis in the history of NBA, possibly time. Of course, I'm talking about Shaquille O'Neal. There you go.
Exactly.
Yep. He had success in Orlando, Los Angeles, Miami. But what happened when he went to Cleveland, Boston, cold weather? Shrinkage.
Yep. I mean, it was Shaq's penis, so it was still absolutely massive relative to any normal human. But still, shrinkage brought it down.
Yeah, exactly, shrinkage. And on the subject of shrinkage, we have to talk about the shrinking quality of the ESPN basketball broadcast.
What a segue that was,
exactly.
by
See,
the way.
people, your journalist students out there, see, that's how you do a segue. You take the one thing, shrinkage, which was formerly about penis size, right? But see, I made it about ESPN broadcast quality.
Write that down.
Exactly. See, that's how you make it in this
business. That's how you do it.
People. So I'm watching First Take the other day, which I never do.
Yeah.
And of course, I instantly regret it. Because it was after game 2 of the Thunder Wolves series, all right? And the graphic comes across the screen. And it says, is this series over after game 2? How ridiculous is that, Tony?
Absolutely ridiculous. Isn't ESPN supposed to be a sports news network?
Yep.
They don't even know how long a series is.
Yep.
Everybody knows that it's a best of 7 series.
Yep.
So that means the series isn't over until a team wins 4 games.
Yep.
Then the series is over. I can't believe I even have to explain this.
I can't believe you have to explain it either, Tony. Just
unbelievable.
Ridiculous. And, another thing, we got to talk about, while we're talking basketball, we got to talk about this situation in the WNBA. There's this outrage after the league announced that it ended its probe into the racial slurs hurled at Angel Reese, when a team, the Chicago Sky, played in Indiana.
Yeah.
Well, the league came out and said, well, they couldn't find the person who said the racial slurs, and it's, Tony, very easy to see why this investigation went nowhere, isn't it?
Yeah, my sources tell me that the WNBA couldn't identify the one person who was hurling those racial slurs at Angel Reese because Indiana just has too many racists.
Yep.
It would take way too much time to interview all of them. I mean, you'd have to interview about 14,357 racists just in the arena alone. That's why the WNBA can't expand to Mississippi. I mean, they'd have to interview the whole state.
Great point there, Tony. And there's that sounder, and you know what that means. It's time to get out your Fusco Bet app because Tony is about to make his NBA Finals prediction. Tony, take it away.
This is my prediction for the NBA Finals, which unfortunately is going to be Thunder Pacers. Game 1, Thunder win. Game 2, Thunder win again. Game 3, ABC preempts the finals to show something that will get better ratings. Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, which will be won in a landslide by Wayne Brady. And Game 4, in order to recoup lost funds from the crappy finals, ABC will show 5 straight hours of the My Pillow infomercial.
Wow, just terrific analysis there, Tony. There's that sounder again.
Another
which
one.
Which means it's time for one of Tony's bonus bets. Tony, give him your bonus bet for the week.
Here's my bonus bet of the week. In the Thunder Pacers series, I'm taking the over 1.5 national anthems being sung by John Cougar Mellencamp. This series has Mellencamp anthem written all over it. And if you want a parlay, I'm taking Mellencamp to sing Small Town during halftime. Book it.
Download the Fusco Bet app now. Note, Fusco Bet is now illegal in all 50 states and may not be used anywhere in the entire Northern Hemisphere. All users must be at least 20 feet underground when operating Fusco Bet. All winnings must be claimed in writing via mail within 30 seconds of winning or will be automatically subject to forfeit. Fusco Bet.
All right.
All right. Well, now it's time for our favorite part of the show, the ads, when we make all our money. So here we go. Let's line one up. We got sponsors knocking down the doors. Well, here's one. Our latest sponsor, Fresh Clean Threads. Take it away. Obviously the best thing to wear is a beautiful green football jersey.
Yeah.
But what do you do on that one day every 2 weeks when your football jersey's in the wash? The answer is simple. Fresh Clean Threads. And Tony, you've got one of their shirts on right now, don't you?
Yeah, it's beneath my beautiful green football jersey. But let me show you. This shirt is so fresh and so clean and so soft that I'm even actually considering wearing it on days when my beautiful green football jersey isn't in the wash.
I got mine on now, Tony. It's
looking good,
Very
Paulie.
comfortable, very soft, but I gotta say, I kind of wish it had, a big number 5 right here, and, maybe the team logos right here and right there. We'll have to bring it up with the Fresh Clean
we'll talk
Threads
to them
people.
tomorrow.
But now you out there, if you want to look this good, you go to freshcleanthreads.com, you enter the promo code FUSCO15, and you get 15% off your entire order. And if that promo code doesn't work, well, that just means you're illiterate and can't type.
Yeah.
Freshcleanthreads.com, promo code FUSCO15, 15% off. Go there now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back from commercial. Now, 10 times richer. Thank you very much. And all right, well, you know what, Tony? let's just go ahead, wrap it right there. We got
Yeah,
our takes
it's
and we
perfect.
got our ads
Whoa,
in.
whoa,
And
whoa.
Oh, you kidding me?
oh, what the heck
Wait.
is going on? He's not
Wait.
even in the studio.
Yeah,
where
where-
are you?
where
are
are
you
you?
right now?
Cares where I am. I'm doing my job.
Exactly. Nobody cares where you are.
Yeah,
At least you're
nobody.
learning. But seriously, where are you, comedian? Where are you?
I'm in Florida.
Okay. What are you doing there? Dying? Like most people, hopefully.
I'm at a conference. I flew down here today from Newark.
Oh, from Newark. See, the people at Newark, again, Tony, failing to do their jobs. Of all the planes they could have made disappear, they failed to
That was
make
the
that one.
only one that should
was
have
the one.
disappeared.
But unfortunately, he's here, Tony. Or he's
Yeah,
there in
what do you want
Florida.
anyway? Why are you even talking?
Corrections.
What? Just
Corrections.
go.
What?
Well, you said Shaquille O'Neal was successful in warm weather climates.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, learn basketball, bro.
Okay, well, Shaq played in Phoenix, which is a warm weather climate, and he kind of sucked there. So how do you explain that?
Oh, well, I'm going to drop you in a warm weather climate. A volcano.
Yeah, you remind me of a phoenix. River Phoenix. Dead.
Oh, great one, Tony.
Yeah, now
Oh,
shut up.
wait, he's still
He's still
talking.
talking. What?
You called the singer John Cougar Mellencamp?
Yeah, bro.
Respect the legend, bro.
You stopped using Cougar 30 years ago. He just goes by John Mellencamp now. It's time to update your references.
Oh, yeah, well, you're going to need to update your references on your resume after we fire you.
Yeah. You know what cougar I keep using? Your mom.
Oh, great one, Tony.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
what?
Oh,
What?
What?
You said Hyundais are unreliable foreign-made products that break easily.
Totally, bro.
Buy American, bro.
Hyundais are literally the most dependable cars on the market today. They win safety awards every single year.
Oh, yeah, well, I can't wait until you Hyundai.
Yeah, and I want to congratulate you on the award you win every year. Smallest penis. Oh, you're done.
And you want to talk about award winners, Tony? Just booked next week on the show, Super Bowl MVP winner, Eagles legend, Nick Foles will
Wow,
be here. And don't forget,
huge.
you like, you subscribe,
Yup.
you rate and review on Apple
Yup,
Podcasts.
5 stars.
You do all of that.
Leave all
And-
comments. Forward
and you
the
comment
share.
too.
You
We won't
share
read
the
them, but you
spread-
still
yup,
leave them.
Share all
Yeah.
the reels and everything.
And- exactly. And Tony, great job as always.
Same to you, Paulie. Another flawless show.
There you go. We'll see people next week.
See ya.